The devil rides a game tonight. On his demon power spreading fright. The devil must kill, you know it gives him the thrill. The devil must kill, you know it gives him the thrill. The scares of children, big or small. One he raps out of hell, you'll hear his call. The devil must kill, you know it gives him the...
How's it going, kids? You know who I am. You know what this is. I appreciate your time. Just a little collection update before I hit the road. I'm headed to Metal Threat Fest tomorrow as I'm filming this, but if I'm lucky, I'll get this up day of. But I am fucking pumped to see Cruciamentum, Dead Congregation, Convulse playing World Without God in its entirety, Mortuary, loads of sick stuff. Dead Congregation is pretty much a bucket list band for me, and it kind of seems like the band isn't as active as they used to be, so I see they're touring, so maybe they're kind of gearing up for a new album or something. I really hope so, but that is one of my favorite death metal bands of all time. Looking forward to maybe meeting some of you guys there. Whatever. Gonna be buying Freeze for a while. I'm a stupid person. So yeah, I really fucked myself in the wallet real hard lately, and I'm paying for it. So I am gonna do my goddamnedest to buy no records until I get myself out of this little whatever. So on that topic, when I get back and when I get things going again, I'm going to be selling some records. Just some stuff I've been kind of like, I should get rid of this or whatever. One of them, I know a few of you have asked me about this in the past, and I never thought I would get rid of this, but whatever, the time is right. Mayhem, Wolfslayer Abyss, LP, Misanthropy Records, 1998, signed by the whole band. I'm asking $200. Get a hold of me, or just look out for it on Discogs. I'll have a couple other LPs for sale on there. Yeah, I'll put a link below. Maybe not when I upload this video. Yeah, I'll put it up there, but it might not have my LPs listed then. Whatever. The riffs that you're hearing behind me are awesome, because this is Ner Solen gar ner for Evoker, or The Sun Set Forever by Sweden's Dawn. This is a masterpiece, and I don't listen to it as often as I used to. This used to be pretty much a weekly album for me. It's so goddamn melodic. This is just such a majestic, brilliant album. If you don't know this album, man, you're missing out big time. It was reissued a couple years ago by Century Media and maybe remastered. I don't know. I haven't heard it. This mix is perfect. I don't need it. So you probably will have a hard time getting this version for a decent price, but enjoy it in the background. I don't have a whole lot of stuff, so this should be a short video. Just kind of thought I'd crank out a video before I hit the road. Keep the things moving, keep the upload schedule somewhat regular. So I got a box of stuff in from the guy who has been sending me cool boxes of stuff for the last couple of months. We're basically trading, but it's like I'm not asking for what I'm getting, and neither is he. It's like, surprise, here's a bang, here's just a bunch of stuff that you're gonna like, and I don't want any more. But the caliber of that stuff, I guess, is pretty good. I've been hawking some pretty good stuff lately. So he's been buying some stuff for me out of my Discogs wish list, which is kind of funny, because it's like he's getting me stuff that I want, but I don't know what he's getting me until it comes. So it's really fucking fun to find what he digs up and sends. Not all of it is on my wish list, but he also kind of like, he watches my videos and he finds these little hints for things to get me, and it's just really cool. It makes me feel like a supermodel that has like an Amazon wish list and whatever. But Dave, shout out to you. I appreciate it big time. So this last box he sent me, here we go. This is Coffin Mulch. You know the tapes. I'm not into the tapes, but this was a real fucking banger. Totally takes me back to like '96. And this is by no means anything original. These guys are from, I think, Glasgow, Scotland. This was kind of a hyped demo for a minute, but it's just really good fun, gory death metal. This tape was limited to 100 copies, so thank you, Dave. And as always, I'll put links down below so you can listen to everything I'm talking about here. He also surprised the hell out of me with AGATUS, Dawn of Martyrdom. Man, first of all, I've probably only listened to this album 2 or 3 times in 20 years I've known about it. It came out originally 96, maybe 98. I don't know, but this is a 2014 reissue of it. Originals aren't that hard to come by, but I just kind of never really felt like ponying up the like $20 or so for an original copy of it. So this is a really nicely done reissue. If you don't know AGATUS or the Dawn of Martyrdom, this is their debut. This is some great Hellenic Greek black metal, and I mean, this is definitely as iconic within that Greek black metal as your Varathrans and Rotting Christ and Thou Art Lord and stuff like that. It sounds so distinctly Greek. So if that turns you off or something, stay away from AGATUS, because this just has all that like Hellenic glorious kind of riffing, super melodic. I love that bass tone in that part. But it's really killer. The only drawback maybe is that there's a drum machine on it, so it kind of sounds a little chintzy. And for being as old as it is, drum machines weren't the best, or they weren't very well utilized back in the 90s. Some albums pull that off by having a decent amount of charm to them, and I would put this in that category. Little booklet with it. I haven't really looked at this yet. So I spun this immediately when he sent it to me, which was probably the 3rd time I had ever listened to it. It's just one of those records that I always kind of knew I need to get a hold of, because a lot of my trusted colleagues and cohorts and friends consider this a must-have. So he also has been, we chat quite a bit too about black metal releases. Dave Moore is into the atmospheric black metal kind of stuff for sure, which I dabble in, and 2 or 3 years ago was definitely my jam. But you know, more and more these days it's just been lots and lots of death metal. So I've just kind of checked out on a lot of bands like your Black Salice and your Candelabrums and the Beketh Nexamu and shit like that. Like, I'll listen to it, I'll check on it every once in a while, but it just doesn't really do anything for me, so I usually don't listen to every release, or, you know, I don't go back to it very often. But Dave had been hammering me away and saying, dude, the new Candelabrum album, Portals, was worth my time. And I can't remember if I did listen to it before he sent it or not. It doesn't really matter, but it is really, really sinister, grim, evil sounding. There's a large presence of keyboards, but I wouldn't say it's that's its unique quality. It is a really, really odd, just the lyric sheet here, a really odd use of keyboards. It's a really unique and strange, eerie kind of sound. It really sounds like black metal that came from way back in that little catacomb. It is bleak and obscure and dark as fuck. I'm really looking forward to listening to this on headphones. It's got a lot of like sonic depth to it, and the atmosphere really dwells within that sound quality and the sonic stuff. I'm at a loss for words. I'm pooped. I just got home from the gym, and I am wiped out, so I'm spending my last energies with you guys. Oh shit, this one spilled out. So he also, gonna need to replace that jewel case. Sent the new one, kind of new, I think it's 2018, from Obliteration. Really boring album cover, guys. I don't know what they were thinking, but this is Cenotaph Obscure. And the album cover is underwhelming, but the album itself is a fucking monster. This is really, really, really great, and it's kind of weird. It looks like how it was released. I think Indie Recordings out of Norway, Obliteration is from Norway, put this out. And in my head, I could be wrong, it seems like indie recording albums are for like big bands in Europe, but that kind of stuff doesn't really come over to the States very well or very often. So in this case, Dark Descent put it out, but I feel like this release isn't really getting much attention because people aren't really seeing them as a Dark Descent band, which, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter a whole lot, but it is a fucking killer album, and the only person I guess I've seen talk about it is Pat from Ground Zero Salem, which is why I wanted to check it out in the first place. But it is so good. It's just, Obliteration do this unique style of death metal, and being from Norway doesn't really make their sound any different really than a lot of other bands. I would make I think it's pretty important to make a comparison to Morbus Crohn, if you're familiar with that band. If you listen to Morbus Crohn, and those guys are fucking phenomenal, you're gonna want to check out this album in particular. But I think all of Obliteration's material is pretty neck and neck there with Morbus Crohn, who are sadly no longer together. But this one I feel very strongly sounds like that Swevern album. I need to get a copy of that, by the way, but this is really, really cool. I'm going to be listening to this a lot. I can't remember. I picked up their Relapse album a couple of weeks ago, and I think I like this one a lot more than that one, but I didn't really get around to spinning it that much. Anyways, also he sent, lastly, the final album from Cosmic Church, Tadimus. Yeah, so this was released on CD first, and then about a year later, just came out on LP. And I checked out these guys' first album, or I don't know, the one with the snow on it, and I felt like it was really, really overrated, but it was okay. But the amount of hype that I was hearing for this album, I was like, God damn, okay, I'll check it out. So I started watching prices on it, and I never really got around to getting a copy of it. So perfect that Dave sent me a copy of it, man. I so appreciate it. I do these videos to make good metal known to good people, and when it happens, man, there's just nothing better. I don't do it for any other reason, but appreciate you guys a lot. This record, though, it's challenging, and it's really not what I expected. I'm eager to listen to it a few more times and really kind of wrap my head around it. It's not a quick burn by any means. I just don't get it quite yet, and that's a good thing, you know. I guess what I was thinking that it was going to be was a lot more stripped down, a lot more reliance on like a bleak atmosphere and like less riffy, less drums, vocals going on. Just maybe a quieter, less busy kind of record, but it's not that whatsoever. It's a lot more complex, and there's a lot more 2- and 3-part harmonies going on, and I just don't really know what. I don't get it yet. So luckily it's not in a bad way. It's in a good way. So stoked to have that. Also, yeah, my last video, I got that Pan American Native Front, Tecumseh's War. Obviously did a full review of it, so I don't need to spend much time on it, but this seriously was really, really fucking good. It's kind of quick, so it took me about 4 or 5 listens to really start to regurgitate it and really process what it is. It's a really good, pretty traditional black metal record. Oh, that part is so good. Bringing a few new things to the table, not reinventing the wheel, just doing it really, really well. Looking forward to new material from this guy. And I think I'm going to run into him at the show on Saturday or Sunday. And lastly, this is probably the best album of the bunch. So I think I played this album on MP3 in a video like 2 years ago or something. My setup was all fucked up or something, and I didn't have a CD player going or something, or I couldn't play CDs, so I just decided to put in some album and play it in my video, and you know, it just didn't sink in enough. But so I decided to revisit it the other day. So what I've been doing, I guess I'll explain, is I've got a humongous collection of MP3s of stuff that I downloaded between the years, like, fuck, 99 was probably when I got on AOL and started downloading MP3s. And I would buy a lot of stuff back then, but then there was stuff that I just kind of like, I need to listen to it again and again and again and again, or just have it so that when I feel like listening to it, I'll listen to it. So, I don't know, for years I downloaded shitloads of albums, up until about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't really do it that much anymore unless I really, really need something that's rare or brand new and I want to check it out or something. But what I've been doing then is going through all this old library of MP3s and just pulling out random stuff that kind of sounds good. And I'll put it either on my phone and I'll work out to it, or I put it on my car USB stick and just have a bunch of random albums to kind of shuffle through. But so I skipped over, so I put Ecstatic Fear, Somnium Obmutum. I put this on my USB stick and I passed over it over and over and over and over again. I was like, nah, I don't know what that is. I don't know, we'll see what it is. I wasn't familiar with it, even though I had maybe listened to it once or twice over the years. And just the other day, it finally clicked. My mood was for this, and I played it, and I fell head over heels in love with this album. I am in awe of how perfect of a record this is. It came out originally in, I think, 96. I'll just get this out of the way. If you're familiar with Obsequiae, this is kind of like the Funeral Doom version of Obsequiae. By the way, just for funsies, you want to see my Obsequiae poster? I have the biggest Obsequiae poster you'll ever see. Here we go. Unhinged. Check this out. This is a live banner that never got used. The coloration on it isn't so great, but whatever. My friend gave it to me, and it is a treasured piece of fandom. Anyways, this is about Ecstatic Fear, I think, right? Yeah, it starts off with all kinds of like early music interludes and beautiful harp and violin and that kind of stuff, which can get old, and eventually I think a lot of people, and me sometimes, can say like, alright, let's get on with it, let's get to the metal. And exactly when you want it to get heavy, it does. Everything about this album, it was like, it's really hard to put into words. It sounds like an album that wrote itself. Everything just makes such perfect sense. Everything that comes after a different part and has this contrasting sort of style or tempo to it is so utterly perfect. And it was all performed by one guy. I still don't really know much about him or this band really in particular, but I do know that I listened to this album as often as I had the chance to for a week straight. I would go out to my car on lunch break, put it in, and listen to it for half an hour, and then go back. I was absolutely addicted to this record for a while. It is kind of rare. I wound up probably, after shipping, I probably paid about 35, 40 bucks for this to come over here from Europe. It's so worth it though, man. They did do a second album. I still haven't even looked through the booklet yet. But the second album, you know what? I'm completely wrong. Apparently, this is 4 guys. I thought this was all one guy. But, okay, to that point, I think the synergy of the band and the artistic, unified vision of creating this album and having each part flow so comfortably from one to another sounds like one person did it. It sounds like they were of one mind. I sound like I'm bullshitting my way through it, I know, but it sounds just... It's just so amazingly composed, so brilliantly written. It's just so emotional and just devastating sometimes. It just takes you through this roller coaster of emotions. This beautiful melodic parts that just sound so romantic and lovely, and just it will just crash into some kind of just utterly destitute doom that just builds and builds and builds and explodes into something else. It is just a fucking masterpiece. It has been a couple years since I was as blown away by any record as I have been with this one. So I can't tell you any more. I can't urge you any harder to give this a listen. No matter what you like, just give it a shot and see what you think. And if you feel like it, let me know in the comments. So yeah, that's it for now. I'm definitely overdue for a overlooked black metal classics, so I'll be working on that next probably. We need to get back into the collection from the vaults, and I might even shoot a video about the records that I'm going to be selling. But for collection updates, I'm trying to vow to not buy anything for a while. So we'll see you next time either way. Take care.